Welcome to the Ballin4God Podcast. I'm your host, Russell Conwell. Today we have a special guest on, Isaac Billington. He'll be on the first episode. We'll have a lot of things to talk about through his high school career, grade school, and just how he came to love basketball. Isaac's right over there. Do you want to just introduce yourself?
I'm Isaac Billington, 19, and I go to SIU Carbondale.
So, you had a really good career. You were a 1,000-point scorer. Would you average about 14.5 points per game your senior year?
Mm-hmm.
Made a deep run. Must have been a cool experience.
Very cool.
And you got to play along some cool guys, and you got to play with Evan, Luke, Docker. You got to play with Kyle Grant and many others. And you got to play under Coach Weimiller. You just tell me about those guys and that kind of the relationships you built with them.
I've known all of those guys since probably like third or fourth grade. We all played on the same AAU team, the Illinois Bulls or the Southern Illinois Bulls. Luke's dad, Bobby, he got it together, and we started just playing together, from like third, fourth grade, and then I moved to Benton, and then I just made a really deep connection with all those guys, and then whenever we got to high school, nothing really changed.
You said you moved to Benton. You came in sixth grade. What was kind of like the process like? Growing up in Hamilton County, how was that? And then what kind of changed whenever you moved to Benton, for the good or the bad, whatever it was?
It was just a lot of change, in general. My parents, I'm the youngest of four, and all my siblings, were out of high school, so they're like, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay here or do you want to move? And I was like, I want to try to move. And, because McLeansville isn't the best, basketball town, and, 30 minutes right next to is Benton. So, we ended up moving to Benton, but that was almost not the case. We actually were going to move to Woodlawn first, and then we're like, okay, let's go check out Benton one more time. And then we ended up, sticking with Benton. But Benton, even though it's the same size school, it's just such a bigger school, especially in middle school. When I swapped classes for the first time, I had to go to a different class every period, and the small little feeder school I went to, we had cubbies. We stayed in the same seat all day long. So, it was a big change.
You mentioned you went to Woodlawn. Thinking about going to Woodlawn. I know a little bit about Woodlawn. They're doing pretty good right now. I don't think they wouldn't have been in there, but the freshman class at Woodlawn's really good. You might get to would have had the chance to meet some of those guys. That would have been pretty cool. But Woodlawn's got a solid basketball program over there. They're down a little bit. So your senior year, I think they were down a little bit. But right now they're on the up. That whole conference is. But I think they had 7 or 8 freshmen that actually played in good sophomore class. And then, I don't know, they had a good class over there. So when are you considering that, what were you taking into consideration? When are you?
Well, it was really my parents. My dad knew a lot about Woodlawn basketball, and they had a really good coach at the time. They had Blake McKay, who he graduated from there. He played D2. He played JUCO, just overall a really good player. And the coach really wanted, my dad really wanted me to play for him. And then, we ended up not finding a house there, and then we looked at Benton again, and the house popped up, and we got it.
Yeah, I know a little bit about Blake McKay, just a little bit, and his little brother Luke McKay. He's a sophomore right now. He's really good. I watched them play. It was Weber versus Woodlawn earlier this year. Luke McKay had 29, and Nathaniel Marlowe had 36, I think. Barely. I think each player had 1 3-pointer. It was just all slashing.
Yeah.
And But it was a fun game to watch. That was whenever Marlowe broke the school record at Weber.
Cool.
And I like Woodlawn's gym. I don't know if you ever been in there or seen it, but
of course.
It's a really cool gym. And I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough. It's just a small cubby gym.
Yep.
I know Austin doesn't like it. He had to stand there the whole time. He got good popcorn though, and it's a really nice gym. I like it. It's I don't know. It's probably. I try to rank my gyms, which they change each week because there's just so many good gyms. But
who's number 1?
Right now, for the longest time, it was El Dorado.
Okay.
I loved El Dorado's gym. And I think a lot of it's to do with nostalgia type because I went to the tournament every year.
Yep.
And it's one of my favorite tournaments, I'd say. Probably my favorite. But right now, it's Centralia's. I've never been to Centralia's until this year.
Where's Benton?
Benton's 4 right now.
Now, where's West Frankfort? Because a lot of people have West Frankfort at the very top of their list.
I think this is probably a hot take, and I think West Frankfurt's one of the most overrated gyms.
I'd agree.
And I don't know, I can't think of the list off the top of my head right now, but I think whenever I ranked them, they were like number 12.
Okay. It's not a bad number.
Now, I will say, this is my top 5, which the 5th spot you might not agree with. But 1 is Centralia, 2 El Dorado, 3 Peeneyville, 4 Benton, and then 5 Harrisburg. It's like, I know that one side's not a shooter's part because like it switches.
Yeah.
But I really like the setup there. It's like almost like feels like you're like in an airplane.
It feels like a mini like arena, kind of like SIU's arena. It's like got a big like oval top, but just not many seats.
I like it because like it's just I like the colors that they have too, purple and white. Not many people have that. El Dorado has purple and gold, but I really like their colors. It just the court design looks nice, and I also like grew up like going to some Harrisburg games.
So like what makes Peeneyville stand out to you?
I'd say a lot because I like gyms that go down into the ground a little bit.
Yes, me too.
And those are like my favorite gyms, and that's the main thing. And then I also like it when our schools show their tradition.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Benton, Peeneyville are 2 of the best at doing that, and Centralia, which is one reason I like Centralia a lot. But Peeneyville like has all their plaques up, everything all around.
Yeah.
As you walk into the gym from the west side, they have like a bunch of trophy cases and stuff, and just looks really cool.
Well, would that be more impressive, than what Benton has? Because Benton alone, like you walk in the gym for a game, you got that long hallway. As soon as you walk in, just full of basketball, and then you walk up top and you got all around. You got wrestling, football, baseball.
I think Benton does better with showing tradition, but the reason why I also take into consideration of like videoing because like that's huge, and that's one reason El Dorado moved down below Centralia because it's like the videoing there is like kind of weird. Like,
because can you get on the court?
Yeah,
to video.
You get on the court, but like this past year I videoed the 3rd place game and the championship game, and I had to like move it completely across because like the cheerleaders like came and like sat right where I was videoing, and then. But Centralia, you can just like sit pretty well anywhere and like have a good shot. Benton, the reason why they're below Peeneyville is because pretty well every time I go to Peeneyville, I can count on this one spot being open. And you might have seen it.
Back left corner.
Yeah, it's my favorite spot to video from there, and you get you pretty well see everything. Now, like you can't miss a shot basically. Sitting from there, and then. Benton, I don't like it as much just because, like, I have to video at half court every single time, and once you move back and forth for a while, your back starts to get a little tired.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's the only reason it's down one spot.
I gotcha.
And then on the outside looking in, though, my favorite gyms are Salem. I don't know if you've ever been there.
I think I have.
But I just like the setup of it. It just feels like almost like a college gym, too.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, it's nice. You guys were ready. You're coming off a 22-9 year. You guys lost 53-51 to Murphy, the regional semis. Another team that could have, what if they got in a better matchup?
Yeah.
I don't think you guys didn't beat Murphy at all that year, did you?
We went 0-3 against them.
So, scratch out Murphy, you guys are 22-6. And, but say you guys get in a better matchup, maybe you guys could have done something because Murphy, they went on to lose to Massac in that regional championship. And you guys, a couple weeks ago prior to that, you guys just got Docker back and you guys went on the road and beat Massac by, I think, 20 or 30.
Yep.
So it's a big what if, but I knew you guys were hungry. I saw you guys in the gym almost every single day, you and Evan a lot, especially. Docker, I don't know how he does his training. But what was kind of the preparation, the mindset going into that senior year?
Well, like you said, we lost in the regional semifinal, which was a really big disappointment for all of us. I think Coach Wine maybe took it the worst out of all of us just because, like, he gave us about 2 weeks off, and then every morning for the rest of school, we were in the gym for an hour from about 7 to 8 a.m. and he had us conditioning, shooting, dribbling, pretty much like everything you need. And it wasn't easy either. He had us working, sweating every day, and that really just kind of lit a fire under all of us. Like, we can be so much better next year. And we had a lot of guys step up, like at the beginning of our senior year, like Evan, huge, absolutely huge. But like that summer, we just kind of gelled together. It was kind of hard because a lot of guys, weren't there for like the entire summer. So like our first summer game, like we didn't have Luke, and then we lost to Travis Perry, Kentucky players, basketball, his high school team, who he had two other teammates, Brady Shoulders and Jack Reddick. Brady Shoulders plays at Mercer right now, and then Jack Reddick plays at FGCU. And we lost to them by probably 30. And like that was like they actually won a state championship last year with their squad, and we lost to them by 30. And it's like, how good are we really going to be? And I think the rest of the summer we might have lost once or twice. We beat a team from Arkansas that was like 4A state runner-ups in the year prior. So like once we beat them on like a Thursday morning at like 9 a.m., it's like, all right, we can be pretty good. And then after June, July, we have all off, just to be kids, high school summer, and we all just stayed in the gym. We all stayed in the weight room, and we just carried that over, into the start of senior year.
Is there any like a sort of like specific training methods or like anything like you guys did like keep each other accountable or anything like during that time, like the off period?
Not really. It was just either you get in the gym or you fall behind, and I think people got that, and everyone was in the gym. So it'd be really hard to find a time to get in the gym just by myself because everybody was in there at all times of the day.
Yeah. Was there like heading into that senior year, you had it's a shorter rotation, but like you also had like good pieces. You had Kyle off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Nolan would come in every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Grant and Evan were both glue guys, but like not many people realized what Grant did. Not many people realized what Evan did. It was mainly you three at the top, averaging double digits, I believe. What with Grant and Evan, like how'd that help the team and their play styles?
I mean, without them playing the way that they did, especially postseason, we don't get to the state tournament. We don't get to the state championship game. First with Grant, people might see, he only scored 2 points, 4 points, but he scored when it mattered, and he did all like the little things. He played a 5, and I'm taller than he is, or barely, and he played a 5. So he guarded, the other team's big guy who 6'4", 6'5" against T-Town. He was guarding 6'6", and he did a phenomenal job of it. And really just guarding, I'd say he was one of our top defenders on the team, not just starting 5. And I can just remember, like, whenever we needed, like, we were kind of like a dry spell or we needed, like, a pick-me-up, like, super sectional, Grant buries a 3 right before half. Like, that's huge. And he played just a huge role that might not have been stats. It could have been ball screens, flares, just cutting, stuff like that. He's a phenomenal passer too. People don't realize that. And Evan, him playing good was kind of gave us that extra boost. Evan could score anytime he wanted, but just a lot of times that's just not what we needed him to do. One of the best shooters I've ever played with. If Evan, if he went to any other high school in the area, he'd probably average 15 to 20, and they would be really good. But his defense, he guarded the best player on their team every game. He stepped up when it mattered most. Pinckneyville, BIT championship, me and Doc aren't playing good, and he has 20.
Yeah.
He has 20, he barely misses. Bree Central sectional championship, he had our only three-pointer in the second half, and guess what? He was guarding the other team's best player. He shut him down.
Zane Schrage, wasn't it?
Shoggy, yeah. But no, the fact that he could guard the other team's best player every possession and then still score and still do all the things that he does, really just was one of like our biggest pieces, if not the biggest.
Yeah, I always enjoyed watching him play. I remember he he'd always hit three when he needed to. I remember the BIT championship. You guys won 49-40. And I don't know, whenever I posted about that, because that time I didn't do the game highlights or anything, but I did player highlights from the game. And I remember posting about the 20 points, and you guys won 49-40, I think. And that he stepped up when he needed him to, scored the points when he needed him to. Like, so you had a bad game, and he'd play.
And one of his very underrated traits is that he's one of the best teammates I've ever had. And that's not just he's not just like a pick me up guy. Like, yeah, like keep going. I remember we were at Carmi and we beat them by I don't know how much. And after the game, I was like, man, like everyone's in a super good mood because some guys like if they don't play good, like their energy might not be up. Like even if you win, and Evan had 3 points, and during the game you couldn't tell that because anytime someone hit a shot or dunked it, he was jumping, screaming just like everybody else, and I feel like you got to appreciate that in a guy.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you got to build up I like teammates like that build up the not intensity, but just like build everybody up whenever he like say they're not playing great or something. I always noticed that about him. I feel like that whole team, just in general, just did a really good job about that, building everybody up.
For sure.
You guys seemed like you guys clicked at all times on the basketball court. If somebody, like you said, if somebody wasn't playing good, it's another person would step up. Yeah, I remember at moments, Docker had 7 points, and you'd have maybe 15, 20. Luke may lead the team in scoring one night. I remember the night that he scored 1,000 against Hamco. He had 17. Docker had 16. I don't think you had double digits. I think you had 7 that night.
Yeah.
And that just showed how much depth your team had.
And that's like I find so funny. I've had countless people ask me like, who's the best player on that team, and all honesty, I think it's whoever played good that night. Because like one night, like take for instance Doc, 36 against Meridian, or 36 or 37, where he set the school record in threes as a junior, and he has 36 against Meridian. I think I had like 5. Okay, Luke, I think he had 26 or 28 against Nashville. Evan, 20 against Pinckneyville. Evan had 20 against AJ, first game of the GIT. So it's like any guy could score 20 on any given night. It just depended on whose night it was.
Yeah, I remember that during the GIT. I think you guys played Harrisburg or something. And I went up Travis after the game. Docker didn't play a great game, I don't think. And it was Harrisburg or somebody else. I can't really remember because it wasn't championship night. And Travis told me, this team has come a long way since last year.
Yeah.
He said, last year, had this been like this and Docker not have a big night, we might have lost tonight. But he said, I'm just impressed with how everybody played because Docker I think he had 7 points, 6 or 7 points that night.
Yeah.
And it was just, I don't know, it just showed a lot about your team. I mean, you had people talking about you saying how much your team had developed over that summer.
Yeah. And it's just like we really just, I as a senior, as like an older guy, like I made sure to preach to them, not just like the starting 5, but all of like our sophomores how good we can be, and like telling Grant, it's like, dude, if you can be really good, as long as we all just keep our head, and we all just kept a good attitude, from the summer to fall practice and to games. Just don't lose your mind. If nothing goes our way, we're going to be all right.
Yeah. Speaking of practice, you said fall practice and all that, and just like regular practice. I mean, how did those say younger guys step up and help you guys, like say Nolan or somebody?
Our white squad, is what we call them. The guys that play the other team in practice. Like they run their stuff, and then they have to guard us the way that the other team guards. I say like a lot of things contribute to the reason that we had to finish it the way we did my senior year, but those guys played their roles perfectly in practice. Like they were rough, sometimes too rough. They were competitive. It was competitive every single day. It could be a day before a game, and they're all diving for loose balls. They're pressing full court. Like they're not taking a play off, because if they start taking plays off, then we don't get the quality of reps that that we need, and like we don't play as good the next night. But those guys just did an absolute phenomenal job.
Would you say maybe that type of like intensity that you guys carried? Would you say maybe that like helped like I don't know how much you got to watch of the Benton basketball team this year, but would you say that maybe helped like somebody like Nolan Schaefer like develop into the player he did this year, or like what would you say about that like his development going into this year?
I mean, it's from this year and last year. This is just I don't think much has changed. I just think he just gotten so much more confidence.
Yeah.
Because like last year in practice, he could shoot, he could score, he can do stuff like that. But this year, he had the opportunity to actually show it. So I think like the skill has like always been there, just he hasn't been able to show it.
Yeah, he was I don't know, I liked watching him play. He was a very good defender.
Yes.
I mean, he stepped up a lot on that. Like, and you're losing Evan. And you mentioned he always guarded the best player. I think that kind of switched to Grant doing that now. And then you're losing Luke. I personally thought he was one of the best perimeter defenders whenever he wanted to.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
And then you were pretty good, and you had Docker returning, but I think Nolan stepped up a lot and like helping that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he was just really fun to watch. I mean, he'd hit a three when you really need him to. Kind of like Evan, but like he didn't like fully get to that yet. But like maybe he could this upcoming year. But
and I mean, I know I said like that skill has always been there for him, and I mean that. And like last year during the state tournament, Luke goes down and no one has to play, and no one played perfect. I mean, as a sophomore who may not have gotten a whole lot of minutes throughout the year, he played phenomenal in my eyes.
Kyle stepped up a lot too. Then first ever start in state championship.
That
game.
Was probably like the coolest thing to say. Like my first start was in the state championship game. For him to be able to say that's awesome, and that he didn't have a single turnover, and that's incredible.
Yeah.
Not saying that he turns the ball over a lot, but he just played with his head and he kept his emotions under control, and I was super proud after.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a trivia question. 20 years, what Benton basketball player got their first ever start?
Yes.
And it must have been a really cool experience.
Yeah.
Well, let's just walk through the season. You guys start out 12-1 or.
Our first loss was Alney and the Dexter Thomas, so whatever that was. I think 12, 12-1.
55-54. I wasn't there that night.
Yeah.
What kind of happened like down the stretch of the game?
We had a 7-point lead with about 2 minutes left, and we tried to stall, and we tried to keep the ball out, by half court, and just waste time off the clock, and we just turned the ball over, and then I fouled Ian Winkler on a 3, and he made all free throws. He made all 3, so then we lost at the buzzer.
55-54 was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. Penneyville Panthers saw that happen to them this past year.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's over there sleeping. Penneyville had that happen to them this last year with Docker, and win by 1 point. It was in the championship game, but it's just, I'm sure you know that now, and you wish you probably could step back and not contest it. Maybe. I don't know how much time was left at that point.
There was about like 0.8 left on the clock.
Yeah. Something you probably wish you could step back and like not contest it at that point, but it's just something you learn.
But I would go back and change a lot of things. I wouldn't go back and change that.
Yeah, you would.
Just because like that loss kind of, it definitely meant something. Some teams lose and whatever, we lost, but that was like a huge chip off our shoulder. Like we're no longer undefeated, and it's like, all right, well, we're not going to lose again, and then turn around and we lose back to back down in Kentucky.
Yeah, I believe you guys lost 3 games in 4 games.
Yeah, 3 out of 4 games we lost.
Yeah. But like you said, that helps out a lot. It just kind of gives you something to look back on, just something you can fix,
Yeah.
And you went and beat, who'd you play next? Nashville?
After our loss?
Yeah.
We played, after our last loss in Kentucky, we played one more Kentucky team, and we beat them by 30. And then our first game back was Penneyville, at Penneyville.
Yeah. And that was a crazy game. I think it was 64-60.
Yep.
And That's whenever Docker got that poster dunk.
Yep.
And I wasn't there. I think that's the one night I took off.
Yeah, you missed that one.
Yeah, it's one night I took off. I didn't video any game that night.
Yeah, I went crazy whenever that happened. I was like jumping up and down. That was so exciting.
I was there for his second poster dunk this year. He got one against Ty Lauer. But that night I was playing Monopoly. Camden Overturf's not basement, attic.
Yeah.
And but I wish I was there.
Yeah.
It was a good time that night as well. But I don't know. So you play GRC, you play PRP.
We played PRP. That was probably like one of the hardest games we played all year because we left. We didn't go to school, so we left that morning. We drove the how many hours it is to Louisville. Got right off the bus, and we had shoot around. And then our shoot arounds weren't anything crazy. So like we just shot, went over their plays, whatever, and then we drove straight to their high school. They had just let out of school, so we get there at like 4, and our game's like 7. So we have to we can't get on the court and shoot. So we just lay around in their locker room until game time, and then we end up losing by 1. So
yeah, OT wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. We had them beat, and then they threw like a Hail Mary, and their big caught it and threw it up before Docker could block it. So
was that at the buzzer?
Yeah, that was to tie it up, and then
yeah, it's but I mean, they were a bigger school, weren't they? Both schools you played there.
Yeah, they're huge. But GRC was like top 5 in the state of Kentucky, and Kentucky doesn't do classes. It's all one class. So we were one of the best teams in the state, regardless of class. So
yeah. So played GRC. You guys played with them for a little bit, didn't you?
And we played with them for probably like every minute of the game, and then whenever we got to the final 5, that's when they had a really good player, Rayshawn Hampton. He had like 31.
They won 69-53. Was that the score?
Yeah, and he just started to get things going, and it was it from there.
It's good to see someone like that, though.
Yeah, for sure. Like that gets you ready for the E.J. Hortons in the state championship.
Yeah. And you guys played them pretty well.
Yeah.
And then you guys move on. You beat Penyville, and then you roll back around. You guys play them again for the BIT championship.
Yeah. Briefly
talked about that with Evan, and it's just a good game by Evan. I remember that he had a few threes.
Yeah.
And had 20 points. I don't know. Since you guys played him like a week prior, what was kind of the difference in game planning? Do you remember much on that, or?
Same game plan. Stop the same guys. Like before the game, like we knew that they were gonna kind of do something different with me and Dot, because we both had a pretty good game against them. The first time, it was really just play hard. Don't let the environment get to you. Keep your emotions in check.
Yeah, I think playing in because Benton Penyville, that's obviously a huge rivalry.
Yeah.
And BIT championship, playing in an environment like that, I think those type of environments and like playing GRC, I think that really prepped you guys for the postseason a lot.
Sure. Well, because we had to travel. For postseason you have to travel. Yeah. So we went over to Kentucky, stayed. We spent the night, and that prepared us for the state tournament.
Yeah. And then you guys played regional championship, beat Carterville.
Yep.
And then I think you had 16 points that game, which 16 points was the difference in score.
Yeah.
64-48. And then who did you guys play next? Sectionals, you guys played.
Trenton Westland.
Yeah. Docker at 26. I remember that. And that's what I liked about the team. You guys had different leading score almost every night.
Yeah, and that's what I think just kind of made us so special. Like a lot of the really good teams around here, like they're going to have one guy who 20, 30 points a night. But us, it was like, all right, well, who's going to go out and get 25? It just really depended.
And you guys played Breeze, and I think you guys jumped out to
14-2 lead after 1.
Yeah, so you guys were up, and that was very highly anticipated. Everybody expected that. I mean, I expected that to happen. You guys play Breeze in this championship.
I was talking to Chris Kays, and he was subbing for my class. Like, there was probably 4 weeks left in the season, and me and him were just talking about, man, he was giving me beef jerky. He's like, man, how cool it would be if we played Breeze here for the sectional championship? And he goes, yeah, it'd be sold out. We cut 4 or 5 weeks later, and there's not a seat left in the
standing room.
Yeah.
People were standing up around the balcony. I remember that.
And the fire marshal actually showed up. they tried to kick people out, but no one left.
Yeah. I wish at that point I'd done better at what I do now.
Really?
Like videoing wise.
Yeah.
I think I did okay videoing, but I just wish I did like the game highlights like I do now.
Yeah.
I did basically it was glaze over one player after the games, like basically all their highlights.
Yeah.
And I just wish I did like full games because that was a great game.
Yeah.
GSV did it. That covered that game.
They're really good.
Gateway Sports Venue. And then that's one of my top 3 game that I've watched in person.
Really? It was a very like defensive sided game.
Top 3 or 4.
Not a lot of offense was going on. I think Docker led us with like 12.
Yeah, 7 of 8 from the line too. So
yeah.
So it's not like they were like all jump shots. They were from the free throw line.
Yeah.
And then it was very defensive.
Yeah.
It was just because the atmosphere. I felt like if it wasn't a good atmosphere, it wouldn't have been top 3.
It was an insanity because due to IHSA rules, you weren't allowed to shoot around or do anything until a certain amount of time until tip off, and we were all just walking around the gym, and we walk outside by the doors, and there's a line stretching as far as we could see, and it's wow, there's that many people coming to the game tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure you felt a little nervous, but also excited at the same time. But
no,
you didn't. So
a lot of I'm not sure how many other guys felt this. I know a few. We were more afraid to play Westland than Breeze.
Wow.
Yes.
What was why was that? Was just size or what?
Size definitely had to do with it. So they had Seth Mackey, one of my AAU teammates, and I'm kind of telling all the guys he can do it all. He can shoot. He's 6'5", 6'6". He can get to the rim. He's stronger. Then they have Chandler Mueller. He was a junior. Shooter. He can shoot the lights out of it. So if we
he's all-time 3-point leader there now.
Yes, if we let him get going, it's going to be tough to stop him. And they have Gavin Rom, who's a freshman, and it's whenever you see a freshman who's one of their leading scorers, it's all right, yeah, they're pretty scary. And then we were really locked in defensively that game, and then it really helps when Docker has 26. So
yeah, he was hitting them.
Yeah.
There's highlights up of it, but I remember watching it. It was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And Gavin Rom, I didn't get a chance to watch Westland this year. I heard they were a little bit down this year.
Yeah.
But I heard he had a pretty solid year.
Yeah.
All conference first team, I think.
For sure.
I think I'm not 100% sure because I can't really remember, but he might have made first team and Mueller got second, maybe.
Okay, yeah.
But they were good. I was shocked that we were able to handle them that well.
Yeah, for sure.
I say we because
You're from Benton.
Yeah,
It's
from
all right.
Benton, so it's it's a little hard not to have a little bias.
Yeah.
And it happens to be all the top 4 games that I've watched are from Benton games, but I don't know, just a great atmosphere there, and then against the Breeze it was great atmosphere. My top 4 games are probably Benton versus Carbondale way back when.
Yep.
2016-17.
Yep.
And then we actually had to kind of make a comeback. We were down early. I think we got down 8-0 early.
Are we doing the regional from that year?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then Benton versus Petersville. The first one this year, 51-50.
Yeah.
Docker hitting those 3 free throws, which I don't know how he did that.
Yeah.
He has to have some crazy chills rolling down his spine. That's.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine it because that whole gym. My video perfectly, shows what it was. You got Petersville over here, Benton over here. When our Docker's shooting it, Petersville is going crazy, trying to get him a miss.
Yeah, didn't you pan to me and Evan Munoz in the stands?
Yeah. And it was fine. Benton would go completely silent when he shoot. As soon as he makes it, Benton go crazy, Petersville silent.
Yeah.
And that was just a really fun game. And then Benton versus Petersville Part 3, for the conference championship. Benton lost 56-55. But that game was just so fun to watch. Atmosphere was the same as it was the first 2 times. And Docker had a shot at the buzzer. I think it looked like he was trying to draw a foul from my point of view. But It almost went in too, though. Hit the brick, but that game was just so fun to watch.
Yeah.
And Benton actually made a pretty good comeback there, down 27-14 with about 5 minutes left in the second quarter, and then midway through the third quarter, Docker got a dunk, and I mean I'm not 100% sure if it was a poster or not, but he got a really good dunk, getting fouled.
It looked like it.
And he hit the free throw and Benton took the lead 34-33, but I mean Peanaville held on to win, but it was just a fun game to watch.
Yeah.
And then Benton versus Breeze up there for sure. And then you guys, now back to kind of like that senior year, you guys beat Breeze, and then you head to SIU,
Yep.
which is where you got to practice a lot this year.
Yeah.
But head to SIU, play T-Town, which they're a usual team down there. I mean, they've been down there the past 3 years, counting this year. And so they've got a strong tradition, good coach.
Yeah.
And you had the really good shot there, and you probably remember it.
Maybe.
And but Docker, I believe he got 3 fouls early, didn't he?
That one was a real good gut punch because their best player, I can't exactly remember his name, lefty, really smooth. He got Docker in the air on a pump fake, and then I just remember like, okay, hopefully Grant got the foul. You know, Docker has 2, Grant doesn't have any, and then he's like, all right, 41. I just looked to the left, and every bit of T-Town was standing up, yelling, cheering. I'm just like, oh gosh, and then we ended up pulling that one out.
Yeah. What's funny is I've always noticed this about Docker. Besides that game, he rarely ever gets in foul trouble. And you would think he would with averaging. Last year he averaged 7.5 a game, blocks per game, I believe. This year he went down a little bit, but we also had other guys like Nolan and Grant helping out.
Yeah.
But this year he averaged about 3.5. I mean, you would think you'd get a few more fouls because it wasn't very often that he got more than 2 fouls.
Yeah, it's just whenever we got to T-Town was really the only team that did it, is that they knew how to play off 2 feet, and playing off 2 feet is shot fake, pivot, look to kick out, and a lot of teams that we had played up until then, they play off 1, they try to shoot floaters, and Docker's quick, and he can jump really good, so it's like if you try to shoot a floater, I've tried it before, and the balls went in the backcourt, so yeah.
Yeah. So he goes into foul trouble. I got a little worried. I was wanting you guys to go upstate, and I'm sure every Benton fan did too. Like, obviously, I want you to go upstate, but I'm worried. I mean,
Yeah.
But and you guys start rolling. I think you had 13 that game, and then at the half, did you guys go up 30-17, or am I?
27-7, like 27-14 or 27-17. I think it was 27-14.
Yeah, and so you hit that buzzer beater at the half.
Yeah.
And you were hyped. I could tell.
Yeah.
Getting in the student section, yelling.
Yeah.
But there was a little bit leading up to it. I think Evan hit a 1 or 2 threes, and then Grant hit a 3, and then you hit a 3.
I think you got that flip. It went it went Evan first.
Yeah.
On the left wing, and then Grant second, and then I hit the one before half. So yeah, it was 9 points just like that. I think it was 9 points on 3 trips.
Yeah. So kind of walk me through that. I mean, what was it like being able to hit that buzzer beater and then you got to go celebrate with your team as you're walking into halftime? What was that like?
Oh, I don't really remember a lot of it. I've kind of blacked out, but the only thing I can really put together is trying to get the ball across half court with 7 seconds left, and then I try to hit Nolan on a roll, and the pass was a little bit overhead, but luckily he saves it in bounds, and then I knew I was going to shoot it because I knew Kyle wasn't going to because he had a guy on him, so I was like, all right, this shot's going up. If it goes in, whatever, but I didn't shoot really good in the first half, so I was like, please go in. It fell off the side of my hand. I was like, this is going to be an air ball, and luckily it wasn't, and it went in.
Yeah. Do you remember anything as you're walking back, or is it just kind of
I didn't remember. Not really. The only thing I can really remember is the pictures, and then I can kind of put it together. But I remember we went into the locker room, and everyone was like yelling, and then we had Wade Thomas made an appearance in the locker room to give us a speech, and that was really it.
Yeah, I remember though. I think you guys went up 30-17 in that second half.
Yep.
You hit a 3,
Mm-hmm.
and then they started to make a run, and I think they got back within like 5 or they got 4, and then Luke hit a couple 3. He had at least 1 3. I remember.
It was Evan.
Evan
hit one in the corner, and then Luke really started to get going. Whenever they started to double team, he would always cut, and then I think Docker found him multiple times for wide open layups,
Yeah.
and then he got fouled a lot. He went to the line a few times.
Yeah. So then you guys win that 43-30, and he's got some celebration going. Well, first that was the first time Benton made it back to the Elite Eight, and since 92, whenever JoJo was on that.
Yeah.
So that's a cool feat to have. And then you guys make it back to the Final Four, another thing that 92 team did.
Yeah.
And so what was the celebration like? Getting to experience that with your guys that you, like you said, you've grown up with.
Definitely really cool because it really started like a few possessions before the final buzzer. We were up, I think, maybe 6, and they threw the ball. They were inbounding it under their basket, and they threw it out of bounds. And then once that happened, everyone from Benton started cheering, and then me and Evan went to the crowd and said stand get up, and then everyone on that Benton side got up and started cheering, and then from then the buzzer sounds, our team rushes the court, and then whenever Sinks held up the trophy, all the student section sprinted on the court, and that was awesome. Just getting to just celebrate with your teammates and your classmates is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm sure it's even cooler to be a part of history, and
Yeah.
I mean, you guys made history, making it back for the first time, but you guys also kept making more history.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Sinks. What do you think about him? You guys, I feel like you guys did a lot to include him. You guys really did a good job. I remember he held the plaque up at Goreville.
He was the first one to touch the trophy every single time.
Yeah, I remember that. Benton, and
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's just something that, I feel like that Benton's doing a really good job at is including those that have special needs, and I feel like Coach Groves and Coach Robinson are doing good with Ty Newell.
Yes.
And
phenomenal job.
And I just like that you guys did that too, because you guys made him feel more included.
I think it was I was just talking to somebody about it today. I was it was the second day of practice, and they're like, yeah, Evan Sinks is going to be our manager, and I was like, I don't know who this kid is. I've never spoken to him before. I don't know who he is. And then he came in the first day, and then from that point on, he was kind of like family to us. We were just one big family. And then whenever we were about to get the Goreville trophy, we're he's touching it first. And then after the Goreville trophy, we're he's touching the first one. Out of any trophy that we get for the rest of the year, he's going to touch it first. Excuse me. And then really it was, we did Christmas with him, wanted to include him on that. And then after we won the Super, I think a lot of us were like, all right, well, he's going up to state with us, right? And they made sure that he was at state with us too, and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. You got to be with him that whole year, and how would you say he kind of grew as a person, being communicating with you guys and stuff?
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, he didn't, as you said, he was our manager, so just go get us waters, stuff like that. He didn't want to get us waters at the very beginning, which I guess that's pretty funny. But towards the end of the year, he did a really good job at handing us out waters and cheering us on. I remember we're Bree Central. I think the game's tied, or it's 28-28 or something like that, and I see Sinks patting someone on the back in the huddle. It might have been me, but I'm not sure. But he was you're doing a good job, and it's all right, well, it kind of takes your mind off it for a second. It's we're in this hostile environment, and he's not worried about that. And it just gives you a different perspective.
Something I always liked about him is that he seemed very attentive. Especially this year too. You weren't there. Obviously you weren't on the team, but I just come to Goreville and I'd video, and he just asked me, hey, you want water?
Yeah.
And I'm just videoing not on team, and I don't know.
And he's very caring. There was a lot of times instead of, of course, I don't know this until after the fact. You know, at halftime, instead of like bringing us in waters, he's passing out waters to the student section, and like that just makes you laugh because it's like he's asking all those kids if they want a drink, and he's getting them for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I always liked him.
Yeah.
He's clearly a big part of the team. I mean, like,
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how it affected, like, if the team would do better, do worse, or what. But like, I don't know, he's clearly a big part of the team.
Yeah.
And he got to go up to state. Did he get to sit on the bench, or was he like behind?
No,
you
he didn't
guys?
get to sit too. We had like a certain amount of bench space, and we had to have a trainer on hand. So unfortunately, he didn't get to sit with us.
What was the experience like? Did you get to talk to him at all about that experience, like going up to state, or?
No, because he didn't come up with us. So we went up to state on I think a Wednesday, and so then we practiced up there, and then we played Thursday against Byron. He didn't get to stay in the hotel with us, but I actually don't think he got to come up on that Thursday game because we were all trying to get Coach Wine to just like, hey, is he going to be there? And he's like, no, like he can't come up today. So like that just kind of was like, okay, well we want him to come up and be a part of this, and I think that's kind of helped us get past Byron.
Yeah.
Just we want him to experience this too, and we got past it.
So whenever you're going up to state, it was a quick turnaround. And you guys win Monday night. Tuesday night, what did you guys do Tuesday? Did you guys practice or anything, or?
So yeah, we won Monday. I don't think half of us went to school Tuesday. Yeah, I know I didn't. I think everyone showed up like third, fourth hour of school, and we practiced Tuesday and then we left Wednesday.
So what was the trip like? I mean, like getting to go up there. What was the experience like? What'd you guys do first?
Time out. Can I use the bathroom?
Yeah.
Okay. I've been having to use the bathroom sometime. You can restate what you just said, and I'm locked in again.
All right. So you went to a state tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what was kind of the experience like going up there? Like, did you guys like go to the hotel first? Did you get to walk on the court or what?
Neither. So no team got to like be on the floor any more time than like the other. So whenever you went out there for layup lines, it was the first time that you're on the court. So that was a little weird, but no, we we kind of did like a celebration thing like Wednesday morning. It's like we walked through the high school and like all the students like were clapping and like the band was playing, and then we went to Benton Middle School, and then we went to Aiken Middle School, and then we went to Aiken Middle School, and then went to Aiken Grade School, I think, and then Ewing. And once we went to Ewing, we just left, which was, and like the trip was really fun. We had an activity bus, and then we had a 10-passenger van. And from our Kentucky trip, me, Docker, and Evan were the only ones in the 10-passenger van. So, and in a 10-passenger van, it has it's like really long seats, so you can just like lay down. So, us three laid down, and Nolan Schaefer wanted to be in the van too, but he laid down on the floorboard, and we have one of our assistant coaches driving us, which is just really funny that we have a kid who's 6'4" laying down like in the crack of the van because he wanted to be in there with us, and that was a super fun trip. But then we drove straight to Tolona Unity High School, and we practiced there for about 2 hours, and that was really fun because we talked to he's on ESPN almost every night.
Ernie Johnson.
Ernie
Johnson. Yeah.
We got to talk to Ernie Johnson, and that was a super cool experience. Like we get done practicing, and Coach Wine calls us over and he's like, "Hey guys, like come talk." And Ernie Johnson, he knew our starting five's names, and like they had sent him footage of what we could do better, and he kind of told us that. And then we practiced, and then we went to the hotel, and then we went out to eat at a nice steak restaurant, and then that was really it. And then like the next morning we wake up, and it was game day, and we went and shot around at some grade school. I think Champaign something grade school. While they were in school, we got to go shoot around at their gym, which was pretty cool. And then we of course had the game.
Yeah, I'm sure the students might have been a little confused what was going on.
For sure.
But what was like the connection between Ernie Johnson? Like, how'd you guys get to talk to him or what?
Coach Sloan, I guess he reached out back when he was the girls' team's head coach, and he had his email, stuff like that, his number. So then he got that kind of set up for us, which we got to talk to Ernie, and then we also got to talk to Doug Collins.
Yeah.
We talked to Doug before the regional championship, and then we got to talk to Ernie before the semifinal game.
Yeah. Whenever you talked to Ernie, it was kind of like, I'm sure you thought it was pretty cool. You
It was insane.
Hear his voice on the
Yes.
halftime show on 2K. Game you play. Sure, it just must have been really cool. I thought it was cool that Doug Collins took out time out of his day and did a Zoom call with you guys too. I just what was kind of some words that he would say to you, kind of help you guys prepare.
I can't remember really all of that. I can't really remember that far back, but the one thing I can remember is that we were all asking him questions about Jordan, like who he thought was better, Jordan or LeBron. Of course, he said Jordan, and just hearing some of the stories that that he had to say about Jordan.
He got to coach him twice, didn't he?
I'm not sure.
I know he coached him 85, 86 for the Bulls, I think, and I think maybe with the Wizards too.
I think that's right. Yeah.
And it's cool to see that from a guy around here getting to do that. And then Illinois State has now named it Doug Collins Court now.
I think it's actually been Doug Collins Court because whenever we went up, whenever SIU we went up to play ISU, it had Doug Collins Court on it, and his jersey's retired, but that was their old court, and they've completely redone their court now.
Okay, so that's pretty cool though. Still, I'm just a local guy from Benton, Doug Collins Court, and went to go play 8 years in the NBA.
Number 1 pick in the NBA draft.
Yeah, I went to go look at his stats the other day actually, and it looked like he'd been dealt with injuries and stuff.
Yeah.
And he had a 17.5 point per game average. I just like to see it. What if he didn't get dealt with injuries? Because
what could have been?
He played 8 years. Really played 6 or 7 because one of those years he played 12 games, and one he played 30.
Yeah.
And then but he was a really good player, Hall of Famer. And I talked to Coach Wynn about it because me and Coach Wynn got a chance to help just very small, but we got to help prepare for his speech for the Hall of Fame. And he had 70 points his junior year and 500 points his senior year.
Yeah, he's not in the 1,000-point club.
Yeah. So he got to make a point out of that in his Hall of Fame speech, and I got to look at a bunch of old records. I don't know if you've ever seen the old record books, but there's a whole box. Do you know where the equipment room is down across from Sarge's office?
Yeah.
There's 2 or 3 boxes in there just full of record books.
Really?
And it was really cool to see.
Yeah.
We looked at Doug Collins, Danny Johnson, Rich Younkus.
Yeah.
All those guys. I don't know. It's just crazy to think. All those guys went through Benton, which they didn't walk the exact same halls because we built a new school in '73. But it's just crazy to think they went to through the same I guess you could say
same system.
Yeah. And I don't know. I like watching old videos and those you can't find too much video on those guys, but just in general I like to watch old videos on the old Benton teams the 80s and 90s teams.
Me too.
And it's just crazy to think that that guy went to our school or whatever. And I don't know. And do you have anything to say about that?
I guess not.
I guess we get back to the state finals. We got a little sidetracked from that, talking about Doug Collins. So you guys played Byron.
Yes.
I can't really remember the game much. There's some games I remember a lot, some games I don't. To be honest, I don't really remember the state finals games because the experience up there. Because I didn't have the same experience as you guys, but I got to be in the media room and all that, and it was just really cool. And I just remember the scores.
Yeah.
So what was like kind of the experience from your perspective, like getting to play Byron and then first ever team to play in the state championship game?
It was, I mean, just as soon as like we won the super sectional, we're just like, okay, whatever we do up at state, we're gonna be happy because we're gonna bring home a trophy. And once we kind of are like, we're kind of playing with house money right now. It's like we're gonna bring home a trophy. We just played better, and as soon as we pulled up to the arena, and we couldn't go in yet because the previous game was still going on, but we all pulled out our phones and we started taking pictures everywhere. It's such a cool experience, and then we got to go up to the very top of the arena. We got to look over, and we got to go everywhere. And then whenever we got to go in the locker room, we got to go in the same locker room that Purdue was just in a few days prior.
Yeah.
And really, once we got in the locker room, that's kind of like when we all calmed down of like this surreal experience. We're like, all right, we're here to win, and we get on the court and we won.
Yeah, I'm sure it just must have been cool to like say, yeah, Zach Eady, he was in this locker room too, and you got other guys too. But from my perspective, I got to go in there. I got there a little early. The 1A games were because I went to the Meridian game.
Yeah.
And I got to as soon as I got there, we went to the media room, set our stuff up, and it was just weird to walk in there because like you said, the Purdue guys were just there. Illinois guys get interviewed in there almost after every game, and it just didn't feel necessarily real. It was just different.
Yeah.
And then I got to walk through the tunnel, to walk on the court, and that was just so cool.
Yeah.
And it's definitely I'd say it's a top 5 experience in my life so far. And I don't really remember the games that much, because I was just taking in the experience. It was just crazy how many fans traveled. Even Meridian, they're even farther than us, an hour south of us, and they still traveled all the fans that they could get.
Super cool.
It was just a fun experience to go up there, and then it was just even cooler to see both of our area teams. We didn't win state, but both of our area teams got to go play in the state championship game.
And that rarely ever happens. 2 teams from Southern Illinois
even make it up there.
Yeah.
This year we didn't have a team go up there this year at all.
Yeah, Metro East, but that's Metro East. It's not Southern Illinois.
Yeah. I thought it was cool though.
Yeah.
Especially whenever we won. I was happy Meridian won. I'd get to come back Saturday and still video.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of icing on the cake that we won. Mm-hmm. And I was a little worried whenever Lou got hurt, but it was cool to see that he was still beside the team, supporting you guys too. I was really hoping he'd be able to play, but I knew that injury was.
I know, that. Whenever he went down against Byron, it's just why did it have to happen at the state tournament? We've all dreamed of playing there together. I'm sure he's dreamt at playing on Illinois' floor in the state championship game. It's just why'd that happen? But it just really stings, and it made all of us feel for him. And it's well, he hurt, he's hurt. Let's go play the rest of this game for him. So
yeah, and you guys won. You got to play in the first ever state championship, and then both games were in the state finals, but was there any difference in going into feeling wise, I guess playing for a state championship and playing to advance?
It's teams from Benton have been to a state semifinal, and it's once we won then, it's we're in uncharted territories now. So it's no one's ever been this far, and all of our coaches made it a point to tell us that, and it's listen guys, you guys need to be proud of how far that you guys have come, and that was just really cool.
Win or lose, you guys accomplished a lot. Even if you guys would have lost against Byron, it's just a crazy thing. And what was it like playing in that state championship game? I think team had a rough shooting game. I remember. I think you and Munoz both had double digits.
Yeah.
I think you had 19, and Evan had 11 maybe, and Docker had 7. It was just, I don't know, the shooting just wasn't great, but you were still playing great. I feel throughout that whole postseason, you had a really good run. I think there was, almost every game except for maybe 1 or 2, besides Central and maybe the Westland game, I can't really remember. You didn't have double digit.
I think it was just Westland. I don't know. I think I had like 5 points against Westland.
Yeah, but like you really had a great run there, and but what was it like getting to score 19 points on a University of Illinois court where some of those like NBA guys have played?
I mean, I didn't really think about it, and I guess it really still hasn't hit me. I mean, it's like I could have scored 30, and if we had still would have lost, it just kind of feels the same.
Yeah.
It was definitely it definitely is cool, but it's not something that like I really pride myself on. It happened, we just didn't win, so it doesn't mean as much. But I really am more kind of proud of like us playing in it, and it's like we each played really bad at times during that game. It's like we all didn't have a really good first half, and we still bounced back second half and kept playing with them, and a few calls didn't go our way, but it's just meant to be. God had a path, and and it was just supposed to end up that way.
Yeah, I thought Coach Wyatt. I don't know how much you remember from the interview. I go back and check it. I think it's check out the interview. It was in the media room. It's one of my favorite interviews of all time. Probably a little bit biased there again, but
yeah.
I think he said it best about like that game. I mean, he really cared about that team a lot. And
yeah.
I remember prior to the state championship game, Darren interviewed him, and he said this is like his Disney World, getting to play in this, like going up here and coaching this, and then he talked about you guys. I mean, like, just like he said, I mean, you're gonna get to go show your kids, hey, I got to play for that team. I mean, that's just doesn't matter. You got to runner up or obviously you'd like to win the state championship, but I mean, like, still you get to say, yeah, I got a trophy and play with those guys, tell them a story, and I think that's just a really cool experience. I mean, not many people get to say. I mean, like that 2023 team. I mean, you guys lost in the regional semis. I mean, and you get to tell them about that team, but I mean, it doesn't have the same story that last year.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Coach Weimer's just, I don't know. I'd say he's my favorite coach. I don't know. Which it's probably because I've interviewed him more, but he's definitely my favorite coach I've got to interview and like just be around because he's always cared for me, like asking me how I'm doing and stuff, and like I'd have like a strength and conditioning or something, like he just asked like, where are you going tonight, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Joke around with me.
Really cool.
I really liked him.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be around him a lot. I mean, he was your coach for all 4 years.
Yeah.
What was kind of like the experience with him? Like, I mean, growing up with him, like he's from Hamilton County. You guys both have some similar pathways.
Yeah. He was in my dad's wedding actually. So yeah, I think he's 2 years older than my dad, but my dad and him go way back, and then that's part of the reason that we went to Benton. It's because he was a head coach, and he really close. Like I remember, I was as long as I can remember, I'd go to the future Ranger camp, and he would take me and bring him into his office. And like to like all the coaches, like a lot of the players were in there, just like introduced me to them. And then whenever, freshman year, he didn't really coach me a whole lot just because of COVID restrictions. I was just playing freshman, and then sophomore year, he was my coach, and then junior and senior. But now he's a really good coach.
What kind of like, I mean, you got to be around him a lot, like I said, but like, what kind of bond did you guys grow in? Like, do you guys still talk today much?
Yeah, I mean, I was just in his office this week, just talking to him. We text all the time. I text him, after they won against Carterville. I talked to him, multiple times throughout the year, and then I think we really built the bond. As soon as I got my license, I would always text him, "Can I come get the keys?" And he just said they're in the mailbox. And then if he ever went away like on like vacation during the summer, he'd just come drop the keys off at my house, and it was kind of like an unspoken bond type of thing.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I like to see that because I don't know. I obviously don't get to experience like how other coaches are, like say Hardin County or Goreville or something, which I do like Todd Tripp a lot too. He's really nice, but it's just really cool to see that. I mean, I don't know how all coaches are, but whenever you have a coach like that that's really cares about the program, really cares about the guys, that's just awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he has great bonds with most of his players too.
Of course.
And I really think you got Coach Heron, and then I think Coach Weimler is right there, really close to like being second best coach.
Yeah.
I mean, like at Benton High School.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree with that.
I mean, almost regardless of sport too, because
Yeah.
he's a really good coach.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments from this past year, they went to Riverton to play, and I got to go up there and video them in Waltonville, and Benton was up 25-24 midway through the third quarter. It was Docker was just like, I'm not trying to say he was forcing it, but like he just kept trying to score in the paint.
Yeah.
And like it just wasn't going well. And most time Grant passed it in this year, and then Coach Weimar switched it up, had Docker pass it in to Grant down the post, and then Grant kind of like passed it back out to Docker in the corner. Docker hit the three, and that just kind of like set the tone for the rest of the game, and we won by like 47-32, I think. So they scored 8 points the rest of the game. Williamsville did, and Benton scored 14 from that point on. And it was just he made that play adjustment in just such a quick amount of time. Like he was like, Grant, you go here, Docker. I mean, like, I don't know. He's a very smart coach, and I don't think people really recognize that much. Like, I believe he's won 5 regional titles in his 15 years coaching.
That sounds right.
And 15 or 16. Well, I'm just talking about Ben, because I mean, he coached at Forston and ZR.
Yeah.
But at Benton, he's won 5. And I really think he could have won a few more. I mean, I think a lot of it's because he got booted up to 3A for playing against. It's hard to win a regional title when you're playing teams that have 500 more kids than you. So, I mean, like, had he been in 2A, maybe he wins more. And I don't know. Like you said, like, we talked about before the podcast, that 2022-2023 team and then the 21-22 team, I definitely could have won a regional title there too. So I just think that he does a lot that people don't realize though.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Now we can cut this part out, make a transition here. Do you want to talk much about college at all, or like what direction you want to go with that? Because like
we can just like senior, like post senior year, like stats and stuff, and like going to like college and whatever.
All right, I'll take a look at this just in case. You had 6 all tournament teams, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 6.
Okay, and then
I mean, I guess like 6, but then like I got like player of the game MVP against EPG last year. It's like 7.
yeah, that was a good test for you guys. I feel like as well. I feel like a lot of people.
Yeah, you gotta clap.
Well, we'll start with the 6 all tournament then. So you got 6 all tournament teams throughout high school, and then you got the MVP of the shootout against EPG. I think you guys won 60-42.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit worried when
Really?
Jonah Funk opened up with that 2-handed reverse dunk.
I never like seen that like, in game before. I never seen someone rip baseline and go behind and do that. I've never seen that before.
What was kind of your thought process like whenever that happened? Like,
Well, like I said, like being on the same. I never been on the floor with someone who's done that. It's like, all right, well, we know that he's really athletic, and that was really it. I didn't really think twice about it till after the fact, but
yeah, and this is something like kind of to the EPG team, like looking at this year as well. Jonah Funk transferred to Metamora this year. I forgot how they finished. Honestly, like after our teams got eliminated, I took a little break from basketball, except for like making that 3-hour-long video. But he transferred to Metamora, and then Micah Mace. I don't know if you remember him much. He was number 32 on their team, about 6'5". Anyways, he kind of stepped into their leadership role. It looked like this year, and like he was like, I think he had like him and his teammate. He was a sophomore this year, combined for like 55 points against Vienna.
really,
And like it went down to the wire, but like it was just crazy to see like the difference in play style from last year to this year, because they centered not completely around Jonah, but like a lot of their offense was around Jonah,
Mm-hmm.
and this year is around Micah Mason, this other guy just shooting threes.
Yeah.
They had like 13 combined 3-pointers.
Wow.
And I don't know, it was just interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
And back to like your senior year though, like you had a 1,000-point score. Was that against, who was it against? Was it in a regional against Carterville?
Yeah, it was against Carterville.
I think it was your 10th point of the game. I remember you hit a baseline shot out of the inbound.
Yeah.
And you had 16 points that game. That was to score 1,000 points. I mean, there's a lot of guys don't score 1,000. I just I happened because I was just curious. I didn't know how your dad did because I knew he played at Hamco.
Yeah.
And I think he scored like 780 something or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And it's just crazy to think. I mean, there's a lot of guys that don't. Like Justin Raby, he was a few points off from it.
Mm-hmm.
And then like there's just a lot of people that don't score 1,000. So to be a part of that is just really cool because I think that I want to say the Benton has 24 or 25 1,000-point scores.
That sounds right.
Across our long history. And just like mentioned earlier, Doug Collins, an NBA player, Hall of Famer, hasn't even scored 1,000.
Yeah.
So it's just a pretty cool feat. And then your junior and senior year, he averaged double digits both years, and then 14.5 points. I think he had a 13 point per game career average.
That sounds right.
So you got to play in 81 varsity games. So it's a lot of games. And
not really. With some of these guys that are around here now, it's not that many.
compared to somebody like Kyle Cooper, Nathaniel Marlowe, Gage Peterson.
Yeah, guys that have started varsity since they were freshmen, that doesn't compare. That blows me out of the water.
Yeah, if you just play 30 games per year each year, say you lose first round of the regionals each year, that's 120 games.
Uh-huh.
And those guys are expecting. I know each team's probably expecting to make it up to a state tournament run next year, hopefully.
Yeah.
And so that adds an extra 7 there. So it's just wild to think how many. Like you played 81, and I say that's a lot. But it's just wild to think like how many more games those guys play, like 40 extra games compared to you. And I don't know. That crew over there has a lot going for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I talked to one guy. I talked to Kyle about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he said him and Gage are both about 200 points off from 2,000.
Well, that's incredible.
Same age, been starting the same amount of time and all that. That's just wild. And then I think the career record there at Waltonville is 1,995.
Whew.
And basically just whoever has a better year is going to get it. And Kyle said he was being a little humble. He was like saying that he'd like Gage to get it because Gage is like actually from Waltonville.
Yeah.
Kyle moved in there like after like his 8th grade year, he said. So I don't know, it's just to be in a discussion for not only 1,000 points, 2,000 points.
2,000 is incredible.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see them like how they'd play at Benton or something. I think they'd be pretty good still though.
Yeah.
Those guys like you'd say, well, play for a small school. How would they play at 2A? I mean, I truly think those guys could still play in 2A and 3A because they had a bad game against Marion earlier this year, lost 69-41. But the next day they went to go play Centralia, who was arguably and probably still is the best team in 3A this past year, Southern Illinois. They were tied 45-45, 4 seconds left, and lost 49-45. And like, it's just crazy to think like they have in the latest IHSA enrollment they have 97 kids.
Yeah.
And Centralia has about 850. So
It's insane.
Gage Peterson's also like, I always thought like, and this is no shade towards Kyle or anybody, but like, I always thought Kyle was like for sure the best player, but Gage went to go play the AAU with SI Select.
Yeah.
And he really progressed his game a lot. Like he can dribble the ball up the court now and like shoot the 3 ball. And I think he shot the ball from 3 like 51% or something like that. And like it's not like he shot like 1 3 on the air. Like he like shot like 50 or something like that.
Yeah.
So he was a good 3 ball shooter that they could count on. Now he just like he progressed so much going into his junior year. I mean, I don't know how much you've got to watch on them, but like they're they're like, I think they could play in 2A. I think they could play with us.
Yeah.
Like, not last, I don't know how it'd been last year, like, because they weren't fully progressed, but, like, I think, like, their team from this year would push us a lot more than people would think.
For sure.
Because they played with Carlisle earlier this year, lost 50-36, and they had a bad game. Like, like, it wasn't horrible, but it was a bad game. Gage Pearson had 21, but he was, like, their only source of offense. And, like, they were still playing with Carlisle, which they were in the subsectional of death with Westland and all those teams, and Breeze. So, I mean, like, just to be able to play with those guys is really good. I don't want to, like, put too high of expectations because I don't want them to, like, feel overwhelmed, but I really think they could have another good year.
For sure.
And I don't know. It's just, I think that 1A, especially in the Midland Trail Conference, which is Waltonville, Woodlawn, and Weber, I think it's a lot tougher than what people think it is, especially between those top 3 teams. And I don't know. I wish that, they're starting to get a little more respect that conference is, but I wish more people would respect that conference.
Yeah.
Because it's tough. It's because you got Marlowe. He can go. I don't know if you've watched him much or anything, but he's like, he'll go out there and score 40 or 50 and, like, just be like, okay, that's just normal.
Yeah.
And Wilson got to coach him, Lucas Wilson, and Lucas Wilson always really enjoyed coaching him too.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. And this is no shade on you either. Like, you average like 14.5 per game, and that's just like, wow, like that. Which they might not have as many scores, like you said, like a different score each night, but still, it's just crazy to think. Like, difference between a 14.5 point game score and a 30.5 point game score, which is what Marlowe averaged this year.
Yeah.
And it's not that he's better than you or like worse than you or anything. It's just different play style.
I gotcha.
It's just, I don't know. I don't know. It's just a weird play style over there, but it's like, it works for them.
Mm-hmm.
Back to you a little bit though. We got a little sidetracked. So senior year, from sophomore year to junior year, I need a big jump. It says you averaged 13.8 points per game. And then senior year, you rolled around and scored 536 total points. I mean, a lot of that, you said you worked hard in the gym in the off season, and I mean, that once you hit 1,000 points, seems like you start to catch more attention of different colleges and stuff.
Yeah.
And you originally committed to Rend Lake, didn't you?
Yeah, not publicly, but yeah.
Okay. I honestly couldn't remember.
Yeah, I did.
And then you went to SIU. It's preferred walk-on, wasn't it?
Yeah, PWO, yeah.
What was, like, the experience, like, well, just the recruiting journey in general, and then, like, how you ended up, like, as a PWO?
It wasn't really, like, too crazy. I had a few schools kind of reach out, kind of like all throughout my high school career, nothing crazy. And then state tournament happened. I got a little bit more exposure, and then around that time, SIU reached out, and then I didn't really think anything with them would kind of hit the ground running. They just kept in contact for a little while, and then one day they're like, hey, come take a visit, and I was like, I'm not going to pass this down, and then went down there for a visit, and they're like, yeah, we'd love to have you. And you couldn't really tell me anything. Like, my parents were like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. And I went down there, and I committed in, like, late June. I committed really late. I committed early June, and I committed, I think, June 2nd, and practice started June 10th. So, like the coaches told me, you better get ready. And I was like, all right. And then June 10th is when the first day of SIU practice started.
And with that, it's pretty well a whole new roster. I believe only 3 returning players.
Yep.
And got to meet a lot of new guys, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
What was the experience like getting, like, well, you got to meet the new coach, Coach Nagy.
Yes. And
the assistants. There was one, and then you got to meet all those new guys. What was the experience like getting to meet those people?
It was kind of surreal because mainly the 3 guys that stayed at SIU last year, it's like I've watched those guys before, and it's like seeing those guys like on TV or me sitting in the stands and getting to watch them. It's like I'm sitting right next to him. Like Kennard Davis Jr., it was so cool. I was locker buddies with him. Like me and him are really close now, and just seeing like all these different guys that I've seen on TV before are sitting 10 feet away from me was so cool.
When are you went into that like kind of, I guess you could say summer camp type deal? What was like what was kind of like the main emphasis, and like what did you kind of get out of it? Like what was compared to like high school? Like what was the difference?
It was just to get better. I still had some expectation on me. Like the coaches, they brought me on knowing that they had expectations that I could play down there, and it was really just trying to keep up. It was so difficult as soon as I got down there because I wasn't meant for it really. There was a reason I wasn't really highly recruited, and I got down there. I definitely got my eyes open. Like my first day down there, we had 45-minute practices during the summer due to like NCAA ruling, and like my first day we did like a few drills, and it's like I can do this. And then my second day, my second day was better than my first day. And my third day, I didn't know what to do because I had such a bad practice. It's like I was getting back down. I can't guard anybody, and I was really struggling. And then coaches, like they just told me to stay with it. Things are gonna click. I had some people around the SIU system just kind of telling me it's like you're a new guy, you're a freshman. It'll all work out, and I just kind of stuck with that.
As the season progressed, you got your red shirt.
Yep.
And you got hurt. I don't know how much you want to discuss about it, but what happened, like recovery wise, like and like all that.
Yeah, I did good throughout the summer, and then towards the end of summer I had some shoulder problems, and I made sure to try to get that addressed. We had like a 2-week break, and I got that addressed, and I thought I was all good to go. And then whenever we came back, everyone got all moved into the dorms, whatever. And a day before we started practice, I was playing one-on-one with our starting point guard, and I went to go for a steal, and he kind of swim moved my arm back, and my left shoulder came out, and then that put me out for the most important time of practice, the time where you get to kind of show what you can do, how you play in a team setting, stuff like that. And that kind of like really hurt my chances to play and stuff like that, which that really stunk. But getting to redshirt was probably the best thing that could have happened to me, because I got a whole year of Division I experience, and now going into it, I'm a freshman all over again. So I'm always grateful for that. But yeah, I battled some shoulder stuff throughout the year. Both shoulders actually. I tore my labrum in this shoulder, and I have labrum problems over here too. But throughout the year, as soon as I come back, I missed like 2 months worth of practice. At the very beginning, as soon as I came back, I was a completely different player, and I definitely grew, like definitely in the weight room from June to November. Like I can play with those guys, and then throughout the year, I just got better and better. Not only like as a as a player, but as a person too, because playing with those guys just made me kind of learn more about myself. And then by the end of the year, I was keeping up with them pretty good.
Yeah, I'm sure not necessarily like you're a pretty humble guy, but I'm sure like maybe humbled you a little bit more too, because like you're going in there and you're not at Benton. Like obviously you got other guys like Docker, Luke, and Evan, but you're still one of the main guys. Like you're a fan favorite, stuff like that. And you go into SIU, not too many people know you. I'm sure it kind of humbled you, but like it also helped you grow, like you said, finding out who you were.
Yeah, and it was a very humbling experience, because having to sit the bench was super kind of something that I'd never done before. Last time I did that, I was a sophomore in high school, and then now I'm having to be a cheerleader all over again. I learned to kind of embrace that role. It's like, all right, my role for today is to go cheer on your teammates, go be the best teammate that you possibly can, and that really helped me grow and appreciate what my teammates did in high school. So yeah, no, it was just a very humbling experience overall, because Southern Illinois basketball, it's really hit and miss with talent wise, and as soon as I got down to SIU, it's completely different animal from 1A, 2A, 3A around here. So yeah, it was a very eye-opening experience.
Yeah, and so now you got 1 year under your belt, and what's kind of like the next steps, like just progressing as a player? Like, I mean, like you said, you like whenever you came back from that injury, you were a little bit different. Like, I mean, like play style wise, what's like the next step with like improving your game?
Yeah, it's definitely getting 100% healthy. Still battle some shoulder stuff over here, but really just get healthy. And I developed kind of towards the end of the year more of a shooter role, just because I'm not going to go and drive in against our 6'10" center who's going to block it. I'm going to step back and shoot where they have to respect my shot, and once they have to play up on me, then I can get to my right hand and shoot a jumper. But I definitely develop more to a way more shooter, and I think my next step is to kind of putting my whole game together, not just shooting, not just driving, not just mid-range, just kind of mixing it all together.
Yeah. Even if you just say a shooter, like they throw you in whenever they need you to shoot, I mean, still a pretty cool role.
Definitely. I mean, I'm going to accept like any role
Yeah.
that they accept or that they want me to play.
Yeah, it's what Coach Wynn was telling me, that he like whenever he played it down at SIU, they like threw him in and like he'd go hit a shot.
Mm-hmm.
He said senior year he kind of dropped off a little bit, like 3-point percentage wise, but that's like what his role was.
Yeah. I mean, whatever role I get, in practice, I was, practice squad guy. Me and the other red shirts, that's what our job was, to prepare the guys to play. And, it just helped me so much more than I originally thought it did.
I feel like you mentioned this before whenever we were talking, like not on the podcast, but not before. I don't know. Anyways, you mentioned it before that you've like talked to Coach Wynn a lot going into like SIU.
Yeah.
And what kind of advice did he give you, and like just like knowing that he had that experience too?
It was just because I went through what he went through. We didn't get full scholarships. We got preferred walk-on offers. Like where they still want you to be a part of the team. They just don't have any money to give you. So he kind of explained like what my expectations need to be on the first day, and he was like, even though you're not getting money, you're still down there for a reason. And I didn't really believe him, because it's like, well, I'm not getting paid like all the other guys. But my very first day, my expectations were just as high as the guy next to me. But no, he made sure to tell me like it's a long road, it's a very bumpy road, but just to put your head down and keep going. Because the day that I committed to SIU, I was on the phone with him for an hour that night, and he was just telling me how excited he was for me, and I just appreciate that.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
I like to rank my teachers every once in a while, and he's always been number one for me.
Yeah.
And because I've known him, like, because he goes to my church, and like I've just known him for a while, and I don't know, he's just every time I talk to him, he always cares.
Mm-hmm.
Asks what I'm doing, how I'm doing, and I love him. So I'm sure you really like him too.
Yeah, he's actually he's officiating my sister's wedding.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Is that which you only have one sister, don't you?
I have two.
Two.
Yep.
Which one is it?
Her name's Sarah, and she's getting married to Parker Williams.
I remember Parker a lot. He's on that team we briefly mentioned.
16, 17, yep.
Yeah. So, I don't know. He's a really nice guy too.
Yes, he is.
Well, so Mr. Wynn, he obviously had a lot of love for the game. I mean, coached from 2002 to 2009 at Benton, and coached at Meridian previous to that. I mean, you love the game, obviously. I mean, you're still playing it, and I really love the game. It's my favorite sport to video for sure. I don't know. I just love it. I mean, like I've grown up watching it. Like me and my dad used to go to the El Dorado Holiday Tournament every single year, and then it was just so fun. Now, but where does your love for the game come from? Like as you're growing up and stuff.
I mean, I've been playing basketball since I learned how to walk. It was the first sport that I ever picked up playing, and it's the last sport that I'm gonna play. And all growing up, it was all basketball this, basketball that, and my dad kind of instilled that in me. As long as I can remember, I've had memories of going to Benton and watching Derek Oxford, Austin Wills, all of them play, and I think it really probably have really fond memories of like 5th grade. For some reason I do, and it's like that's kind of where I was like, yeah, I really want to play this for as long as I can. And then all throughout high school, it's really just continued, through the good and the bad. It's really just kind of grown my love for the game more.
Yeah, I'd say, well, that 5th grade year, that'd be my 4th grade year, and that 2016-17 team got me to love it a lot as well.
Yeah.
And then around that time period, also like a couple years later, El Dorado basketball really got me to like it. My dad, he lived over in like the Harrisburg, El Dorado area, and like we knew this guy like that had like a nephew, Ray May. He played basketball for El Dorado, and he always talked to me when I was in like 5th grade, and I always enjoyed watching him, and that's about the time period I began to like really love it because he played at the El Dorado Holiday Tournament, played in the championship, and it was just really fun to watch.
Yeah, and my love like for basketball isn't just playing and watching; it's also coaching it. Me and Doc started basketball lessons about a year ago, and we just teach kids just fundamentals, and really we just kind of teach them everything: shooting, defense, ball handling, and that's kind of led to the start of my coaching career. That's probably going to start pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's a fun experience to like do that because you get to see the enjoyment of kids, like and kind of like the other coaches you've had over the years, like that brought you up to where you are. I mean, it's just a fun experience to do. I mean, not many people. It's a hard job, I will say, because I'm like, you probably don't get every time something bad happens. I'll reset. Whenever something bad happens, whenever something happens, it's like if it's either good or bad, one team has the good end of the stick, one team has the bad end of the stick, and you just kind of like have to control that for your players and let them know like everything's gonna be okay. So it's a fun experience, but and it's not always about wins or losses. Because I talked to Coach Wynn about that, and he said whenever he was coaching for Benton, they weren't like really great, except for like that first year he was here, and he said though that just like seeing like the people like enjoy the game and stuff, it was just fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know, it's definitely something cool to get into, but it's just like I don't think it's like what everybody like thinks it is. It's more than just wins or losses.
Yeah.
Well, I think that kind of wraps it up. It was a good experience. Good talk with him. Definitely a lot longer than what I thought it would be. I don't know. I'd say whenever I get talking, and it's fun. It's usually lasts a lot longer. So there's no telling. I guess if the episode's shorter than usual, then I guess it wasn't a fun experience. But it was a good time talking. I guess that ends the Ballin4God podcast. I hope that you guys really enjoyed it, and hope that you guys come back for the next one. Just so you guys know who it is, it might be Caden Rogowski and Race Hickey from Marion. So just, I guess, prepare yourselves.